Happy 4th of July to you, man. I can't wait until the 2024 season because I expect fireworks from the Jaguars. I'll tell you why in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
That's right. She said it. It is your team every day here on Locked On Jaguars, and we thank you for making us your first listen. Happy 4th of July, Independence Day, however you want to call it. Thank you for joining us here on Locked On Jaguars. You can go over to the YouTube page, hit that like button. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and make sure you hit the bell so you receive notifications each and every time we drop an episode. And then wherever you get your audio podcast, make sure you tap into that location so you do not miss an episode of Locked On Jaguars. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code Locked On NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Shout out to the everydayers for joining us every single day here on Locked On Jaguars, and you can be one. All you got to do is join us every single day, and I'll call you an everydayer. Y'all forgive me, man. Y'all know yesterday was my birthday, July 3rd, and let's just say a time was had. A time's going to be had here on this podcast today. We're going to have some fun in segment 3. What's on your plate? But we ain't talking about food. Well, we kind of are, but we're going to use that in an analogy or a metaphor or whatever, and we are going to put players on a plate to make a balanced meal. We'll talk about that while y'all eating y'all's franks and sausages and all of that stuff. Fireworks in 2024. Yep, I think there's going to be fireworks on the field. Doesn't mean they're going to win, but I think the game's going to be exciting, and I'll tell you why when I get to segment number 2. But first, happy 4th to you and whatever you guys are doing today. I'm going to give y'all some advice. Don't be getting all Food Network on those plates, please. Just cook the links, the ribs, the dogs, the burgers, the baked beans. Just make regular baked beans, man. Don't be putting all of that stuff in it. Don't get too fancy with the potato salad. Raisins do not go in potato salad, okay? Mac and cheese is a side dish for the 4th of July. I'm just telling y'all, I'm giving y'all some culinary. If you ever invited me over there and I saw all of this wild Food Network stuff, man, I think we're going to have a serious problem, right, on the 4th of July. And then also with those fireworks, man, be careful and make sure you protect your animals that are not used to, that don't have the temperament to be dealing with that stuff. But yeah, man, the 4th of July is always fun. For me, it's I used to get cheated on my birthday. Birthday was July 3rd, and we just got a cake on the 4th. You know, when you grow up without a whole bunch of money, you got to figure out ways to do things. So that's what we were doing when I was a kid. But I'm going to have a lot of fun with that today. I do expect more fireworks from the Jaguars on the field. Speaking of fireworks and plates, why? It's because they're more athletic. The Jaguars are more. This is probably one of the most athletic teams I've seen them have. I think this goes back to the teams in the 90s, even more so than 2017. I think the overall athleticism of this team is crazy. And they were able to do that by, over the years, drafting players with traits. But then in the offseason this year, the one thing that they did in particular was they got more athletic in the defensive backfield. They got bigger on the line. And I think those things will translate on the field to the team playing a more exciting brand of football. I think they'll have a lot of opportunities to score quicker, faster, and they'll make more athletic plays. Now, they got to still bring it all together and play as a cohesive unit. But that's one of the takeaways that I've come from in this offseason, that they have a lot of weapons on offense, and then they've also weaponized the defense with more talent, more length, bigger bodies, a certain type of player that they're looking for now with the defensive backfield. And you can really tell that the coaching staff, the new members of the coaching staff had a lot of say in what type of players that they were bringing in. And this is the advantage of Trent also sitting in on the interviews with when they were looking for a defensive coordinator. You gotta you got to swallow your ego, man, when you're a GM, and you really have to go out and get guys that fit what the coaches want to do. If you don't, you're just handicapping your coaches. So when I really sit and look at, I was looking at the depth chart here just today. When I really sit and look at this roster, now everybody knows that I've had a couple of concerns, and that's along the offensive line. Are they big and physical and strong enough? And the example that I used is the other day I talked about the Eagles in 2018 when they won the Super Bowl. They had 3 first ballot Hall of Famers, and Jason Peters, Jason Kelsey, and Lane Johnson. And back then, people probably didn't know that those guys were headed towards that. But that's exactly, in hindsight, when you look, that's what they had. And I think when it comes to winning, that's the type of dominance you really, really need, unless you can get around it. I do believe Anton Harrison is going to take that next step and start being a guy that people start considering a Pro Bowl or giving him all pro type consideration. I think he's going to do that. I think Brandon Scherf is on the other side of it. Mitch Morse is a good player, not really great. Ezra Cleveland is a key because they really have to tap into that potential and that athleticism. When you see him, man, he doesn't look like no big fat left guard, right? But he's a big 300-pound dude, but he looks extremely athletic. He almost looks like a big tight end when you see him in person. And of course, Cam Robinson. But they have what I call side dishes. And these are guys that won't start, that are going to have a big impact on this game. You know, everybody can't be a first ballot Hall of Famer. You can't just have a plate full of ribs and plates full of salmon and plate full of chicken. You need side dishes. You need slaw. I ain't going to call nobody on this team slaw, okay, because a lot of people don't like slaw, but you need macaroni and cheese and beans and potato salad. You need the whole thing. That's why we're going to build that plate later on, and I'm going to tell you, we're going to use different tiers of players to be able to do that. But that the offensive line is the only thing that really, really concerns me. And I know I said the defensive backs, but I'm not concerned about them personnel wise. I'm concerned about them playing. Do y'all get what I mean when I say that? I'm concerned about everybody knowing exactly, being a fit and knowing exactly what they're supposed to be doing in this new system. And the reason why that concern exists for them is because a lot is going to be put on them, man. The Jaguars are going to play downhill. It is going to be balls to the wall, if you will. I think that's a good term to use, but it's going to be the floor. The pedal is all the way to the floor. There's going to be all gas, no brakes. And when you do that, that leaves some room for some things to happen and give up big plays. That's why I say it's going to be really, really exciting. They're not trying to hedge their bets on the field. They are going to go out and play fast and furious on offense, and that'll give them a little bit of a wiggle room, because on defense, I think they're going to make a bunch of plays, but I think they're going to give up some too. So let's discuss those fireworks. Who the players that can be the reasons and the catalyst for those fireworks going off on time. And, you know, you can have some mishaps too when you're playing with fireworks. And then we're going to do what's on your plate in the third segment. We're going to build a plate based on players. And we're going to use different tiers. And I'm going to do two different plates, and I'm going to tell you exactly the advantages and disadvantages that those groups can have. A little fun today here on the 4th of July. I hope you all are enjoying Independence Day, and I hope you're enjoying being with your family. Segment 2 of Locked On Jaguars, we're going to talk about those fireworks and who are going to be the players that provide those fireworks. We'll do it in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars. This show is brought to you and sponsored by the Gametime app. Listen, man, what you do, some people just procrastinate. Some people just wait until the last minute to get tickets, right? I'm not one of those people, but if I was, I'll tell you what, I would go to Gametime, because most people tell you that your lack of planning is not their emergency. Gametime doesn't do that, man. Your lack of planning is their priority, because they do last minute deals where you can save up to 60% off buying last minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and etc. That's right. They actually specialize in helping people who had to wait to the last minute for whatever reason to buy those tickets. What you do is download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code. I'm going to spell it out for you. It's LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed, and nobody will ever make you feel bad about buying tickets at the last minute because Gametime specializes in just that. All right, segment 2 here on Locked On Jaguars, where it's your team every day. We thank you for making us your first listen. Happy Independence Day. Happy 4th of July. To everyone who is celebrating with their family, the weather looks like it's holding up here in North Florida. Also, man, just remember, just think about the folks who in the Caribbean that are going through it with the storm, man. I think it's Hurricane Beryl. It's hurricane season, so we got our eye on those folks, and we're thinking about them, man. Because being in Florida, we know how that is. Even when you don't have a direct hit, the water and the flooding and the down trees and the power, it can all really, really be a bad thing. So we got those folks on our mind today while we celebrate. The fireworks on the field, the more exciting brand of football, is a little bit of a double-edged sword, because while it's fun, it can also be painful if you're on the losing end of it. And we know that being here in Jacksonville. 2017 was fun, but you know what was also fun? 2018. It's just that we weren't allowed to really have a lot of fun in 2018 because the expectations were so high. But that was a fun year, man. It really was. It was a fun year covering the team. Jalen Ramsey getting mad at people and guys barking at each other and fighting on the sideline. Look, I didn't say all excitement was good, right? Good excitement and bad excitement, but excitement nonetheless. When you have fun and you're entertained, but you want to be entertained and you want to win. You don't want to be entertained and lose, right? The Jaguars are going to have to deal with a little bit of that. Now, I think they're going to win more games than they lose this year. I really do. But I said repeatedly that Miami game bothers me to open the season, and it's because you got new defense and new parts, and basically the way that it's been described to me, and I'm just putting it in layman's terms, they're all downhill, man. It's man to man, and let's go mano a mano. We ain't hedging our bets. We're gonna sit here and out personnel you. It's kind of hard to do with the Miami Dolphins, because if you play them that way, you're going to see some explosive plays. But you have to be able to have your share, and you have to also weaponize your defense to the point where, okay, we're going to give up some, but we're going to get some too. And how big those plays are going to matter. The first game won't be, I think it'll be an exciting game, but I don't think it's going to be the tell-all for the Jaguar season. And I'm not trying to preempt you, making you think that they're going to lose that game. I don't know that. But for a team that is changing their philosophy and is going to be learning how to play, that is a rough game to start your season out with, because Miami, they know each other very well. And you're talking about Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Odell Beckham now in the slot. You're talking about all those running backs with Mostert and Devin Achane with his dangerous self. The good thing about it, though, is I think where Miami is weak, the Jaguars are strong. And that's going to be the defensive line. So while I won't say that game is going to be a total reflection of what I believe the season is, I think there's going to be an exciting game, but you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. It is going to have everything in that game. It's going to have the good and the bad of playing this exciting brand of football with and using these athletes. Do they have the wherewithal, if you will, do they have the personnel to hit back? That's the thing. When they get hit, can they hit you back? And I think the Jaguars can. I think Brian Thomas Jr. gives them that. I think Gabe Davis gives it to him, along with Duvernay. And then when you add in Evan Ingram and of course, Travis Etienne, and an improved offensive line play with Trevor Lawrence, I just think the Jaguars actually have enough firepower to go toe-to-toe with teams like that. And that's why I think they're going to let it hang out. Pause. You know what I mean? I really do. I think the Jaguars, they don't have anything that they're trying to hide this year. I don't think they're hiding anything. I think the team is built to the point where they don't have to protect anything. They don't have to go in being cautious, worried about something being exploited. I really think they're just going to be an exciting team. Now, that has to translate to wins because that excitement will turn into despair if they're on the losing end of too many of those games. Nobody's going to care that it was fun if you don't end up winning. And I get that. But it will be fun none the least. It'll be a real fun season. And like I said, it's the athleticism, man. When you think about BTJ and you think about Gabe Davis and Devin Duvernay and this new kickoff rule that none of us knows what's that's going to bring more excitement to all of the games. And I think the Jaguars are definitely equipped to deal with that with Duvernay along with Keelan Robinson, who I expect to make the team because of those new rules. I think he's going to be the fourth running back. They're just all around a more explosive football team offensively and defensively. Then you think about Eric Armstead and adding him and the versatility that comes with that. I think Devon Hamilton's going to start next to him. A lot of depth charts I keep seeing have Roy Robertson Harris starting next to Armstead. But either way, they're going to be a big, physical, long football team. I'm really also excited about them going back to a four-man front. I just think it simplifies things, and they're able to take advantage of mismatches and put guys in position. I think Trayvon Walker is going to have a big year. I know Josh Allen got the money and he's the leader on that defense, but Trayvon Walker to me is going to have a huge season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mark my word. I think Trayvon Walker is going to be pushing all pro. I really do. I think this defense is set up for him to have a big year. And if they can do that, I'm telling you, man, this thing will go where you can't even imagine. The defense to me is going to be the key. I think the offense is going to score points, but I really do. I think the defense is going to turn the ball over more. I think they're going to get more sacks. I think they're going to put the other team in long down and distance situations. And hopefully they can come out on the end of this thing and the fireworks that I keep talking about. Because it's the 4th of July, the excitement that they're going to play with is going to result in more wins than losses. But you're going to be entertained either way because the way the team is built right now with their athleticism and their talent at these critical positions, I really do believe you're going to see a very explosive team. All right, let me build these plates. So here's what we're going to do in segment 3. I'm going to build a plate. I'm going to take a great offensive player, a great defensive player, a returning reserve, a rookie, and then another returning reserve. A returning reserve on offense, a returning reserve. These are your side dishes. I can't just let you go in here and say, I want a little bit of Trevor, I want some Josh Allen, and want Trayvon, and I want ETN. Well, you ain't getting all of that. You got to build your plate, a plate where what I mean is these guys are going to have contributions every single week, and they're going to need contributions from a whole bunch of different people. So in order to win games, you're going to need a little bit of everything, and that's what we're going to give you in segment 3. We're going to give you a little bit of everything. You can get a little bit of everything at Locked On Sports Today, because if you're watching Fox or ESPN on your TV all day and you have to turn down the volume with all the shouting, make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Let's make us some plates with some headliners and side dishes. We'll do that in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars in segment 3. All right, third and final segment here on Locked On Jaguars. Happy 4th or Independence Day, however you decide to address the day or whatever you want to call it. I know y'all making some good plates, man. Like I said earlier, you got to keep it simple, man. Don't be going all Food Network and putting all of this fancy stuff in people's plates. And I like those struggle plates too. If you can't cook very well, that's all right. Just try. Just put a little char on those hot dogs, and you don't know how to make baked beans, just eat the ones out of the can or whatever, man. Do what you got to do. And that's a shout out to my military guys, because I know a lot of guys that can't cook, they're stuck in the barracks or whatever, man. Y'all might not be getting it in today, but if you're young, because the older military dudes, man, they really know how to get down with it on the grill, man. But I hope you are all, whether you're here, if you're from Jacksonville, or if you're a Jaguar fan, hopefully you're not alone today and you can celebrate with some people, or somebody brings you a plate. Speaking of plates, let's build two different ones, and I can show you how you can get different contributions each and every week. It was fun for me to do this, and I was just like, all right, you can't just take guys that everybody knows. So I'm gonna have two teams. One of them's gonna have Trevor Lawrence on it, and Josh Allen ain't gonna be on this plate. So you got a plate of food, and let's say Trevor is your ribs, right? And Trayvon is your macaroni and cheese. All right. So you got two great players that you're getting contributions from in this particular week. What if during these games, and just think back in the past, like how many times was Rayshon Jenkins like the hero? And he's a starter, but he wasn't considered one of the 10 best players on the team. But he did something. And how many times did Dearness Johnson do something last year? And you're like, man, we really, really needed that. You know what I mean? That's what I think the Jaguars are set up to do this year, is to get contributions from a lot of different people, some that you'll see and some that you won't. Like Devin Duvernay, I think he's going to have an impact on some of these games. Jamal Agnew in his tenure here, in the years that he played here with the Jaguars, he had impact, good and bad. Now, he was an exciting player. It's exciting in a good way and then exciting in a bad way also at times. But if you got Trayvon and Trevor, that's a good start. But now you can't go for premium sides anymore. You got to take some of the other sides, right? What if you get a sack? What if in a game that Trevor plays well, in a game that Trayvon plays well, you get a sack from Yasir Abdullah? It feels like if you just get that kind of contribution from somebody, they're going to win. What in that same game if you get 2 tackles for losses and flashes from Mason Smith? What if the offensive line has a little bit of a breakdown or somebody gets hurt and old Cooper Hodges comes in that game and he holds it down? Do you see how this is how good teams win? Good teams win with contributions from your big players, Trevor and Trayvon, but at the same time, mix in a little Yasir making a play, Mason Smith making an impact, and Cooper Hodges, you ain't even notice he's out there. And that's the thing about offensive linemen. You only notice them when they do something wrong. But he has to come in and spell somebody. See, to me, thinking of how a team can win doesn't always mean the big guys have to do it alone. Sometimes you need these contributions from other players. What if it's not Trevor and Trayvon one game, though? What if it's Travis Etienne and Josh Allen? They're the two big fish that have the best games offensively and defensively, because you do need those guys. So let's just say Etienne is your chicken and Josh Allen is your collard greens today. So you still need some side dishes, right? What if Chad Muma gets some run in that game and he plays well? What if your young rookie Jarian Jones plays well at the same time? And what if Cam Robinson has to go out of a game and they put Walker Little in, and Walker Little stops Myles Garrett in week 2? That's a recipe, in my opinion, for a team winning, when you can get contributions each and every week from the guys that you pay a lot of money and the guys that you count on, and then you get more contributions from dudes that are unexpected. The point that I'm trying to make is, anybody who's cooking today will tell you that the meat is the star, but the side dishes have to play a supporting role in that plate looking good. And that's exactly what happens in football. That's exactly what happens in football. It's not going to always be the biggest players. It's not going to always be the headliners. They're going to need contributions from other guys. And those names will change on a weekly basis. That's part of the excitement too, is seeing people be put in a position to get things done and make plays. And I'm really, really excited about the defense. You notice I keep talking about some of these young guys on defense. And that's because I am so excited about Ryan Nielsen. I think he's going to find a way to get the best out of Yasir Abdullah, to get the best out of Mason Smith, to get the best out of Jarian Jones. Put those guys in position. Chad Muma being able to flow to the ball and run like the wind from sideline to sideline when he has an opportunity. I really do believe that this team is set up to play an exciting brand of football, both offensively and defensively this season. And I know, man, You want it to translate to wins, but if you look at the athleticism, just go through the depth charts that are out there right now. They're all unofficial, but you'll notice that there are playmakers at every single level, as opposed to just having guys on the roster that you're developing and hoping that maybe they don't get in the game. No, I think this is going to be a situation where you're going to see a boatload of people playing. Think about the Dallas Cowboys, and I know we don't want to get compared to them, and they ain't won a whole bunch of stuff, but when you watch them play, they had so many people defensively that nobody knew who that Bland kid was last year, and he got all those interceptions. He got like 6 or 7 pick sixes, right? Nobody was thinking about him. They were just thinking about the Diggs kid. And they were thinking about Michael Parsons, but there were other players on that team that just stepped up and made a bunch of plays. Now, eventually, when they had to run up against a real good team, they didn't do very well. Hopefully, that's not what happens here. But I think playing an exciting brand of football where you're never out of a game because you have explosiveness. You don't have any weaknesses that people can just point to and exploit every single week. Hopefully, if there are two, we've talked about it. It's the offensive line and the defensive backs. But other than that, I think the Jaguars are going to be okay. They're going to have a fun season, and you guys are going to have fun with them. I'm going to remind y'all to have fun today. Have fun with your family. Have fun with your friends, but make sure you do it safely. All right, here on the 4th of July. And just enjoy yourselves and enjoy your family. Hopefully this gave you a little bit of something to laugh at today as I tried to combine what y'all are all doing and what y'all are up to today with a little bit of football as we get ready to head towards training camp. Make sure that you check out Locked On, because we've launched our first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on the Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Please enjoy yourselves today and tonight, and do it safely. And come back tomorrow for another episode. You ain't gonna be. You got to be safe. You got to be safe so you can get here tomorrow and check us out here again on Locked On Jaguars. You guys take care and enjoy your day.